Hello, fellow educators. This is your girl Align with Home by 4, and welcome to Home by 4. This is the only channel dedicated to helping K-12 educators from an educator use AI to eliminate burnout, get your time back, and leave school by 4 o'clock or earlier every single day. So if you are a classroom teacher, a principal, an academic coordinator, a district leader, or if you're just an educator who'd heard about AI but don't know where to start, this is your channel. All right, I am going to show you something now. I know you guys are getting ready to go back to school, and some of my fellow colleagues are already back. I have a surprise for you. So check this out. I have a back to school planning guide. And what this back to school planner does, and it's in beta right now, so when you start using it, you just have to let me know how we can make it better. At any rate, with just a little bit of information, this back to school planner will give you your welcome letter to your families, your students, meet the teacher introduction, your parent and guardian communication plan, your first week announcement. There are 42 artifacts that this planning tool will actually help you to create. It gives you everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through how to get this output. Now, one thing I would like to tell you is that once you get your output, make sure that you read over it carefully. But I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's get started. So let's start our walkthrough. I'm going to fill in my name, my email. I'm going to click on Teacher, Classroom Educator. And my band is 9 through 12 high school. And for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to click on Algebra 1. Notice the disclaimer at the bottom that student-sensitive health, medical, or discipline data is never requested or stored in this document. By submitting this form and using the free tool, you consent to receiving future email updates, teacher resources, and announcements. I want to point out that this is still in beta form, so when you're trying it out, please provide me with some comments below to let me know some things that we can do to make it better. All right, so let's start at the top. Here it shows what your profile is. Now the one thing that I would like to let you know is that it saves your profile, but it doesn't save all of this information if you log out. So if you log out or if you go back, I'm thinking it goes away. But you try it out and let me know what happens. Here, you get to choose your personality and style. Notice that it's already pre-filled at the top with your name, 9th to 12th grade high school is my band. And then I'm warm and nurturing, but you could also change it to any of these others, right? This prompt tuner at the top is something that you'll use to tweak anything that you want to tweak. And I'm going to click on it and you can change any of this. I'm going to change it to high school. I still have to work on that because somehow it changes. It automatically defaults to middle school, the target reading level and audience. But I'm going to put high school. And then you can pick the pedagogical focus and vocabulary words. It's totally up to you. And then down here, if there's anything that you want to change, you type it in here. I'm going to save the prompt tuner settings. And then I'm going to go in and fill this out. Now, classroom values and non-negotiables. I have an AI tool that I use, and this is Claude. And Claude knows me relatively well in the teaching space. So what I did was I asked Claude to give me a description of my classroom values and non-negotiables. And so Claude gave me these details, but you know you can Feel free to type in whatever you have. But the more thorough you are, the better output you'll get. Okay, let me go back, and then I'm going to paste it here. Then I'm going to go down to the subject, scope and sequence, and lesson schedule. Here is where you have prep number 1, which is algebra 1. I'm only doing one prep, but if you were to click here, you can add another prep. You can keep adding however many preps you have, and it'll produce the lesson plans for that number of preps. So I'm going to only use one prep for now. I'm going to go to, and I just pulled a random scope and sequence off the internet. So I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to paste the link. You can put text, a link, or you can upload a file. I'm going to paste the link there. And then our classes are 80 minutes. And I'm only going to do it for 2 class periods. Okay. But what you can do is you can do, if you want 5 class periods, which is a typical week, then you can do 5 class periods. But if you're on a block schedule, then you would meet with your classes every other day. So you would do it for 3 class periods or 2. All right. And then I go back to Claude, and I ask Claude to give me my grading policy. Now, you can go with whatever grading policy you have in your syllabus. If your school has a specific grading policy, then you go with that. But I'm going to go with what Claude created for me, just for demo purposes. And then I'm going to go back and paste the grading policy there. And then this is where you get a little more detail about the school and the district. Now here in the left side, you can put anything else that you want known about your school district, or your school, I should say. So I'm going to say 1-to-1 Chromebooks. And then I'm going to place the district link here. Now, it says all generated materials automatically adhere to FERPA guidelines. No sensitive student data, addresses, health information, or discipline logs are ever requested or saved. All right, I'm going to click continue to document checklist. Now, on this page, step 2 is where you get to select with the different tabs. So it automatically pre-selects 7 essential items that you'll need. Now remember, this is for your first week of school, when you go right back to school and plan everything. You know how when you get to school, everything is like all chaotic. You don't know where to start. This is a great place to start. So family and student communication, you have syllabus and classroom systems. You can choose first week lesson planning, icebreaker and student connection, and then the back to school organization. So let's go all the way back to the beginning, and you want to look and see which one of these categories you want. But as a first year, or at the very beginning of the school year, you want to go ahead and click all of them. So let's select all in this category. It gives you a curriculum overview letter, reminder message templates, conference or check-in invitation templates, positive note home templates, parent guardian communication, and then of course welcome letter to students and welcome letter to families. We're going to go over to the next category, and you get a full syllabus, family-friendly syllabus summary, and that family-friendly syllabus summary and student-friendly syllabus summary, those both just kind of hit the main points of your syllabus. Classroom routines and procedures and classroom expectations, notice those are essentials, and those were already pre-selected. But if you didn't want those, you would just deselect them. But we're going to select all in this category as well. We're going to go to the next category, and we see first week lesson planning. We can get a full first week lesson plan, which is essential, a day-by-day first week agenda, learning goals for week 1, community building activities, classroom routines, practice plan, differentiation and accessibility supports, exit tickets or reflection prompts, substitute friendly backup activities, just in case you're out during the first week. I'm going to select all, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to do that for the next one. So we get to icebreakers and student connections. This is a fun student profile questionnaire, student interest survey, strengths and goal reflection, teacher get to know you script, low risk icebreaker activities, learning preferences survey, classmate connection activity, and then this one, storybook ready profile questionnaire. Remember in my previous video, I showed you how to create a storybook for your students. Well, this is the questionnaire that they would fill out in order to prep for the Gemini storybook that you would create and customize based on their interests and information. So that's what this storybook ready profile questionnaire is for. So I selected everything. And then the last thing, this is back to school organization. This is your first week teacher checklist, materials prep checklist, classroom setup checklist, student information tracker, no sensitive information, no sensitive data is there, copy and paste planning folder outline, and this is just an outline, family communication schedule, small group seating organizer, and then the scope and sequence organizer by subject. We're going to click all of them just so that we can see what everything looks like. All right, notice that we have 42 items selected. Again, you have the right to select whichever ones you want or don't want. But as a first week, you may decide to trash something and then, be done with it. All right, I'm going to generate. Notice that it takes 0 time to generate, but it's generating everything. You see the numbers going up here at the top. And we are done. So 42 of the 42 documents have been fully generated in my voice, and it says Align Walls Planning Folder. You can download the zip package, or you can download it as an MD file. And this is where you check the AI tuner, and you can go back and tweak anything that you want. And then this is the redraft. So let's take a look at what it produced. All right. So it says that, my warm and nurturing classroom. This is where you'd have to tweak some things. So notice up here at the top of each section, you have a tweak/edit. You can copy and paste this into a Word document and save it, or you can download it, or you could actually regenerate this particular item if you don't like what it has. So here, welcome to our classroom family, dear families. Well, and then of course you can change that. Welcome to an exciting new year, my name, and I would take out teacher Align Wall. I would just take out the word teacher. My name is Align Wall, or you can change it to Miss Wall. So I'll change that to Miss. MS. Align Wall, and then I'm going to click Done Tweaking. And I'm honored to serve as your student's teacher in this year in 9 through 12 high school general class. So clearly there's some things that need to be tweaked here, and it said general class, it should have said Algebra 1, and then all of these details. The bullet markers did not end up where I wanted them to, so of course I would fix that. And then the letter to the students. But look closely. This gives you some really good output to start with. It really does. This is the communication plan. This communication, it tells you your location. You would have to put that in there, and your school email. This communication plan establishes predictable, transparent, and proactive touch points between home and school for all students in, and of course you would put Algebra 2 or Algebra 1. 2, the standard communication channels, newsletter, email communication, parent portal. So this really gives you a lot of information to start with, and I just think it's really nice, especially if you're coming in and you're just all over the place, you don't know where to begin. This is a great place to start. I'm noticing some things here that you would probably want to definitely change. From my scope and sequence, it pulled out these 4 units, which is really great. Curriculum and learning journey letter. This is really, really cool. Here's your student-friendly syllabus. And notice it's just like straight and to the point. Tells them how they're going to be graded, which is what students always want to know. How am I going to be graded? And then what the expectations are in the classroom. And then this is cool too. Check out the classroom routines and procedures. Arrive and enter first 5 minutes. Greet Miss Wall at the door with a smile or a high five. And then it tells you where to store your backpacks. Of course, it wouldn't be cubby because, well, I guess if you have cubbies in your room. But that's all grade appropriate and age appropriate. Here are the classroom expectations. And then your materials list, of course, you would put down what the students need. If there's anything different, then you want to add that. Grading policy summary. Full first week lesson plan. And I didn't change the time. I should have changed it to 80 minutes. I thought I did, but I didn't. And then notice that the lesson plan is really focused on what we typically do during the first week of school. Belonging and community welcome. So we're getting into routines. So arrival routine, entry question, name and binder check. Just little things that we would normally do on the first week of school. Because you really don't start doing anything academic until the following week, because kids are still changing their schedules around. And then learning goals for week 1, you have all of that down. So I just wanted to share this with you, and hopefully this is going to be something that will help you out. Again, this is in beta mode right now, so I want you to give me some feedback. I will share a feedback form with you. I'm trying to attach it to the document. I may attach it to the document, but in the meantime, you can give me some feedback by putting your comments below and just letting me know exactly how this works for you. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for watching, and thank you so much for taking the time in advance to work with Home by 4 PD's Back to School Planner.